He also has losses over Anthony Pettis and Dustin Poirier. Those names speak for themselves. Anthony Pettis is a former world champion. Dustin Poirier is an interim former world champion, beat Max Holloway for the belt. He fought Khabib, he lost, but like I said, he was in Fight of the Year in May against Dan Hooker. Very good fighter. So, and he's fighting Vink Pichel, who beat Roosevelt Roberts as well. He's 12-2. He's good. He's really good, but he hasn't fought. He doesn't fight often, as much as we would like to see him. He's his nickname is Vink from Hell Pichel. He's 37 years of age. He's not active. His last fight was June 29th, 2019. So again, another guy who's quite old and he's just not kept active, and that's a worry for me. But like I said, he's fought good guys. He's just, at 37, you really should be either trying to solidify yourself into the top 15 or considering retirement. But his record is like a prospect. He's 12-2. He's not an experienced guy, really. He's got 14 fights. For his age, it's not that experience. He's coming off a loss to Gregor Gillespie. He was a fantastic wrestler on the ground, fantastic fighter on the ground. He beat Joaquim Silva, 10-0 at the time. Very tough guy to fight. He beat Damian Brown, who's a veteran. Anthony Njokuani he beat, who's a veteran as well, 16-7 at the time. He lost to Rostam Holubov, no shame in that. Holubov's a very good fighter, he's now in the welterweight division. He lost to Ali Quinto in the exhibition bout, and Ultimate Fighter season finale. Again, Ali Quinto is a good fighter. Fought Khabib for the interim belt. I just think Jim Miller will win. I think he's been active. He's literally just fought last month, and I just think he's got more experience. If Vink Pichel was to fight this year and he had a win in his name, I think I'd go with Vink. But I just can't see him winning. I just think Jim Miller's he's riding a lot of momentum at the moment, and I just don't think he will lose. I think he'll win by decision. I don't think he'll submit him. I don't think he'll stop him. I think he'll win unanimous decision. Next is a fantastic fight. John Dobson versus Merab Dvalishvili. John Dobson's a fantastic fighter, been around for years. He's 21-11. You might think that record's not great, but it is good. If you see the guys he's fought, lost to Peter Yan, who's world champion now in the bantamweight division, lost to Jimmy Rivera, who's a fantastic fighter, coming off a fantastic win over Cody Stamann. He lost to Marlon Moraes, who's number one contender after Sterling fights Yan. Moraes is fighting Corey Sandhagen next in October. He lost to John Lineker, who's a very good fighter. He lost to Demetrius Johnson, who's one of the best ever flyweights in the world to ever compete in the sport. Has a win over John Moriarga. He's lost to Johnson twice. But he has wins over Eddie Wineland, who's a very good fighter. He's past it now, but 3 years ago, he was a good fighter. Pedro Munoz, which is a fantastic win to have on your record. Pedro Munoz is very tough. He's main eventing next week against Frankie Edgar, which should be a good fight in the bantamweight division. And he has a win over Nathaniel Wood in his last fight, who is another guy with so much hype from England. He had a fantastic time at Cage Warriors. A lot of people thought he was going to win. To be fair to Nathaniel Wood, he was doing very well in that fight. He just lost concentration and he got clipped with a left hook and then got ground and pounded by John Dobson. People were arguing with the stoppage. I think it was fine. I think the stoppage was fine. I think Dobson was putting a lot of pressure on the referee as well, because Wood was putting a lot of pressure on the referee because he wasn't really defending himself properly. He wasn't coming back. People saying he was getting up, but he still didn't throw anything to think that he was defending himself intelligently. Like, he had his back. Like, John Dobson was probably going to take his back or something as well. So I thought the stoppage was fine. I think John Dobson is a fantastic fighter. I don't think he's a gatekeeper. I was going to say he's a really good gatekeeper, but he's kind of like the bigger man of the division. No one really calls him out, and there's a reason for that. He will either take you to a very close fight, or he will end up beating you. If you're not someone that's going to go into the top 10, top 5 guys, he's probably going to beat you. And saying that, his opponent, Murad Dvalishvili, I think will be a top 5 guy. I think he's a fantastic fighter. He's coming off 4 wins. He has 2 very controversial losses in the UFC. He could easily be 6-0 in the UFC, but some weird things has happened to him. Like the Ricky Simone fight, he was winning that fight. He was doing fantastically well. Ricky Simone's a very good fighter, and he was in like a guillotine, I think it was, and he passed out, but the referee stopped it when the buzzer hit for the end of the fight. That's when he passed out. He didn't tap out or anything, but they were saying that he passed out before the buzzer, which I just don't think he did, and many people don't think he did as well. He was going to win that fight if that didn't happen, and he has a very sketchy loss to Frankie Sainz, which I thought he won. He probably shouldn't be making it that close to Frankie Sainz, to be honest with you. But that was his debut in the UFC, so he probably didn't put the best performance he could have done, but he won that fight, really. But he just didn't get the decision. Since then, he has got wins over Casey Kenny, who's a fantastic fighter, really good ground game fighter. Murad dominated him. Has won up by Katona, he was 8-0 at the time, and he was a good prospect to beat. He has a win over Terrion Ware, who's not the best of fighters, but experienced fighter, 17-8. And then his last fight, he beat Gustavo Lopez, who was 11-4. He took it on a week's notice. I think I saw quite a lot of improvements in his stand-up in that fight. I thought his stand-up was pretty decent. He was meant to fight Ray Borg, but he had to pull out due to family reasons. Gustavo Lopez came in, gave it a good fight, but he broke his record in takedowns, which shows me a couple of times. Obviously, people can't deal with his takedowns, but also people can get up from his takedowns quite easily. But I think Murad will win. I really do. I think he's got great ground game. I think his striking's getting better. He's the younger fighter. He's riding a lot of momentum. So is John Dobson, but Dvalishvili's been more active. John Dobson hasn't fought in that long. He hasn't been as active as Murad anyway, and he's like I said, a very good prospect to watch out for. Dobson hasn't fought since February, so it's not that much of a layoff. But Murad fought in May, and the only one thing that worries me, it's a massive step up. He's not fought anyone as good as it before, but good test, and I think he will rise to the occasion. Next, we have Junior Dos Santos versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Junior Dos Santos will win. I think Jairzinho Rozenstruik only has one shot in him, and in terms of his skill set, and we saw that against Alistair Overeem. Alistair Overeem was winning that fight, all that minutes of that fight probably, and then he got caught with a beautiful shot, which made Overeem's top lip go and fly off. But and that fight could have got stopped early. Like, it was a weird stoppage to that fight. So if the referee didn't stop it with 5 seconds to go, he probably would have lost that fight, and he wouldn't have fought Francis Ngannou. And he got destroyed by Ngannou in May, and he's not even took. And he's fighting again in August. It's not really a big time to recover. It's not a lot of time to recover at all, and it was such a devastating KO. And it's his first loss as well, so he's not really had time to process it really. And he's not had I don't think he's had time to recover from it properly, because you should not be fighting straight away after the way he got knocked out. He got knocked out cold and horribly as well. Jairzinho Dos Santos has also lost to guys like Ngannou, but everyone loses to Ngannou if your name's not Stipe. So, and Derek Lewis, but Ngannou would beat Derek Lewis right now. Junior Dos Santos is a very good fighter, been around for years. He's coming off 2 losses, But like I said, the guys he's lost to is Curtis Blades and Ngannou. Curtis Blades, fantastic fighter. Like, he's causing a lot of guys a lot of problems because he's a very good wrestler, got a very good ground game, and not many heavyweights do. So that gives him the advantage over people. The only fighters Blades has lost to is Francis Ngannou. So it's not really a bad loss at all. He got stopped on the feet against Blades though. That worries me a bit, because I think if Blades can stop you on the feet, Jairzinho Rozenstruik can definitely stop you on the feet, because the guy's very powerful. He's got one punch KO powers, maybe, I think obviously he's not got knockout power, Jairzinho Rozenstruik, in terms of one punch he'll knock you out cold, but he's got a one punch that can change the game completely for you. So I think Junior Dos Santos needs to be very wary of that. But I think he could easily just take him down, to be honest. I don't think Rozenstruik has got high-level skills on the ground department, and even on standing. If Junior wanted to outland him mostly, he could do quite easily. He has wins over Derek Lewis, Tai Tuivasa, which was good at the time, but we know how Tai Tuivasa's career's gone, not the best. And he has a win over Blagoy Ivanov, who's very tough, one of the toughest fighters I've ever seen. His story is quite amazing, to be honest. So he has good wins, and he's lost to Stipe Miocic, who's fighting in the main event, defending his world title. So not really bad losses. Junior Dos Santos will win by knockout. I think the fact that Jairzinho just recently been knocked out in such a brutal time, and it's only taken him 3 months to come back, I think Junior will knock him out second to third round. Next we have Sean O'Malley versus Marlon Vera. Marlon Vera is one of my favourite fighters. I really don't want him to lose this fight, but sadly I think he will do. I think that Sean O'Malley is very good, very talented guy. He's 12-0. He's got the UFC machine behind him. They're promoting him to the sky. Really, he's fighting on the co-main event in only his 4th fight, I think, in the UFC, maybe 5th fight. 4. This is his 5th fight, and he's fighting in the co-main event. That's pretty impressive, and it shows how high they are on him. But again, he's been suspended due to steroids. But I think there was something weird with his thing. I think there was a lot of controversy surrounding it in terms of whether the thing was right or not. So I don't think he took a full suspension. He came back against Takanori Gomi in a grappling match and Hector Lombard in a grappling match. So he had like 3 grappling matches since then, all in one night. And then since then in MMA, he fought on the Jones Adesanya on the Adesanya Romero card. Destroyed Quinones, didn't get hit at all in that fight, and stopped him in. He did a beautiful heel kick, and then just ground and pounded him after it, beat him inside 2 minutes, and then he beat Eddie Wineland again inside 2 minutes. It wasn't the same Eddie Wineland, but his right cross was beautiful, and I think he's a very powerful guy. He's still very young, he's 26. I think that's Marlon Vera's age as well. Vera might be a year older. I just think he'll be too much for him. I think he'll stop him first or second round. But Marlon Vera's a very good fighter. He's 17-6 and with 1 draw. He's coming off a very controversial loss to Song Yadong. I thought Vera won that fight. The only issue with him as well, he puts himself in these bad positions where he's a very slow starter. So the reason why he lost that fight against Sung, because he doesn't start enough quickly in the first round. That's why I think O'Malley will win. O'Malley will definitely capitalise on that and probably stop him first round or maybe second, because Vera needs a lot of time to get into a fight. So, for example, if O'Malley doesn't get him out there and it goes into the second round, Vera will probably end up winning, because I think that's where he'll show his class. But he needs to get there, and he needs to start a lot quicker. If he doesn't, he's in serious trouble. He's had quite a lot of fight cancellations. He was meant to fight Jimmy Rivera, which would have been a very good fight. Rivera's, like I said, he's a fantastic fighter. He was meant to fight Eddie Wineland as well, and Ray Borg as well. So he had 3 cancellations within 3 months, which is not the best for him. But it means he's kept training and he's kept in camp. And like I said, he fought in May, so he's kept in good condition. He has wins over Andre Ewell, but again, he started slow in that fight. He looked good from the middle second round to third when he got the stoppage. Beats Nolan Hernandez, who's an okay fighter. He's not the best fighter. Again, lost the first round against him, or struggled in the first round against him. He has a loss to Davy Grant, which worries me. Davy Grant is not the best of fighters. He's not bad, but really he should be beating guys like Davy Grant. But he's had a wealth of experience. Like, I didn't realise how many fights he actually had in the UFC, and the amount of cancelled bouts, which says something about him as well. No one really wants to fight him, and he's now got given a chance for co-main in one of the best cards, or one of the biggest main events of the year. He's lost to John Lineker, like I said, not a bad fight. Douglas Andrade, he's not a bad fighter as well. He's now 26-3, I think. Moved up into the featherweight division. He has wins over Brad Pickett, Brian Kelleher. So he has good wins. And he's lost to Marco Beltran as well. He's not a good fighter, really. But I just think he needs to start. If he starts quickly and gets past that first round, he has every chance in the world. But I just don't think he will start quickly. I think it's very hard for him to get out of that mindset. So I think Sean O'Malley will win first round TKO, unfortunately. I've got nothing against O'Malley. Vera's my favourite fighter. And then we have DC versus Stipe Miocic 3 in the main event. I think Stipe will win. I think DC is very accessible to the body. He struggles with body shots. He's got very good wrestling. I think Stipe's got good takedown defense as well. So, and I think he's I can't say I think he's he's a younger guy, so he's a fresher guy, but there's not much difference with the age. He's a very highly skilled fighter, Stipe Miocic. He's 19-3. Because I'm fairly new to the sport, I don't know an incredibly amount about them. I've missed them in their primes, so I'm trying to make this quite detailed but quite quick as well, and I need to do more study on them. But he has losses to Ngannou, like I said. No, he's beat Ngannou, sorry. He beat Ngannou, dominated him on the ground quite easily. He lost to Daniel Cormier in the first fight by punches, and then he beat Stipe. He beat Cormier in round 4. In the second fight, I think Cormier was winning the fight, and quite a bit of the fight anyway, and he got caught with punches. He has wins over Fabricio Verdum, Alistair Overeem, Arlovsky, Mark Hunt, Junior Dos Santos. The guys he's fought the who's who of the division. He's also got a loss to Junior Dos Santos, Fabio Maldonado,